in interesting times. This week's stories. A couple spending quality time during the pandemic. A young gymnast who works around the shelter-in-place order. Learn how to bake mouth-watering red velvet crinkles. Join the craze for Dalgona coffee. Want to try a new recipe? How about some EBC stuffed bell pepper? And more dessert, a 2-ingredient chocolate cake. This is Eagle News Weekend Edition, coming to you from Las Vegas, bringing you stories from around the globe. I am Lonnie Valdicantos. Now for the details. COVID-19 has forced many changes to our way of life, how we work, how we learn, even how we protect our homes and loved ones. And while change can be hard and stressful, it can also result in blessings we never anticipated. Take a look.
Neil and Krista Cruz, like many young couples today, followed a very common life path. They met, fell in love, got married, and worked to build a comfortable life together. Neil, a scrum master with Charles Schwab, and Krista, a registered nurse at a local hospital, could have happily followed their set path for decades more. But instead, the COVID-19 pandemic set into motion changes in how they work and live. Neil was forced to work from home. Krista was forced to rethink her safety routines, since her work at the hospital put her and her household at higher risk for infection. Together, they developed a plan on how to be productive, safe, and yes, even what to do should one or both of them get sick. Neil admits working at home makes him more productive work-wise, but also more neglective of his physical health. Krista says the landscape at the hospital has changed drastically in the past month as they deal with shortages, training, and the need to keep families updated about their loved ones in isolation. But as the days progressed, they began to realize that something new was developing in their lives. A keener awareness of time and the value of time spent. Krista has to remember Neil is at work even when at home, and spends her days off creatively, painting and designing home projects. But when Neil gets off from work, the two have found themselves in deep discussions regarding life changes, braving necessary trips together, and finding deep appreciation in all things, especially in the moments they spend together. So while they still protect themselves from the devastation COVID-19 can bring to their doorstep, they can't help but be grateful for the deeper appreciation for strength, faith, and hope it's fostered in their everyday moments together. Phoenix, Arizona, Lisa Docena, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Lisa. In the midst of hardships, it's difficult to see sometimes the opportunities of growth. But if we look back on our experiences, most of us will find that it is through our hardest trials that we achieve our greatest hopes. Today, we meet Aki Velarde Tanda, a young athlete in Sunnyvale, California, whose parents say gymnastics taught her life lessons like perseverance, courage, discipline, and patience. Big words for a 9-year-old, you might say, but wait till you meet this little girl and believe her when she says, the road to perfection does not stop at the gym. Here's Lisa Docena from our Arizona Bureau with the story.
Aki means autumn in Japanese and is the name given to this sweet-faced 9-year-old. Her father, of Japanese descent, and her mother, of Filipino descent, like most parents, wanted to give Aki a special life. Scrolling through family photos, it's clear that Aki has had many exciting experiences to look back on with her family. One might even assume she's led an average happy American life thus far. But Aki is not your typical 4th grader, and her life has not been without hardship. Aki is an athlete, a gymnast. She started recreational gymnastics at 5 years old and was quickly picked up by a developmental team. At 7 years old, she started competing, racking up 21 gold medals, 8 silvers, 3 bronzes, and even the state championship. A current USA Gymnastics Junior Olympics Level 5 gymnast, Aki credits her success to the 15 to 17 hours a week she spent on training. But her physical training doesn't really tell the whole story behind Aki's success. In July of 2019, Aki fell off the beam while training for a Level 4 competition. The freak accident caused an injury that would not only take her out of the competition, but also put a halt to her level of training until bones could be mended and physical training could prove she was ready to get back to full training mode. Her parents said it was a hard time for Aki, but a golden opportunity for her to think about the role she wanted gymnastics to play in her life. They also admit it was a hard way for her to learn life lessons in perseverance, courage, discipline, and patience. In her first competition after the accident, Aki fell off the beam and went home with no medals. That alone might have broken the spirit of many young athletes, but not Aki. As soon as she was cleared to train on all apparatus, Aki put her heart, mind, and body back into training for a sport she simply was not willing to give up. In January of this year, she competed off-season in a meet where she won 4 golds, including 1 for the beam, and a silver on the floor. If you ask Aki why gymnastics, she'll tell you she enjoys learning new skills and routines. She'll also tell you she loves it, that gymnastics is fun, and it has taught her that she cannot be perfect all the time. So maybe that's the takeaway we should all get from Aki's journey to help us mitigate the COVID-19 pandemic. There will be hardship, pain, and sadness, but if we face each situation with courage, discipline, and hard work, we will be able to rise again. Even as I write my thoughts down, I'm pretty sure Aki is at home in Silicon Valley, working out, perfecting skills, and preparing for the days when stay-at-home orders are lifted and most of life as we knew it can start getting back to normal. Sunnyvale, California, Lisa DeSena, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you again, Lisa. Up next, learn how to bake mouth-watering red velvet crinkles and join the craze for Dalgona coffee. Eagle News Weekend Edition will return in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. This is Eagle News Weekend Edition coming to you from Las Vegas. I'm Lonnie Valdecantos. Now, like many people these days, our EBC friend Marianne Borja has resorted to baking to keep at home during these times. She invites us to her kitchen in North Hills, California, and shows us how to bake these super yummy red velvet crinkles. Oh yeah, you heard me right, red velvet crinkles. Let's take a look.
Hi everyone, my name is Marianne Borja, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make these really yummy red velvet crinkle cookies. So you'll need a box of red velvet cake mix, half a cup of vegetable oil, and 2 large eggs. You'll also need some confectioner's sugar and a scooper. So what you're going to do is put some confectioner's sugar in a bowl, and you're going to mix all your ingredients, wet and dry, without sugar of course, and mix it together to make a soft dough. Then you're going to make balls with your scooper and dip them in the confectioner's sugar. You're going to want to make sure to cover up the whole ball. Then place it on a tray with parchment paper, and press them with a cup to make sure that they're flat. Make sure that there's a little space between them so that they're not touching when they're cooking. Put your timer for 9 minutes in your oven and place the cookies in the oven. When that's done, make sure to get some oven mitts to take them out of the oven. They'll look something like this. Now you're going to take a strainer, a small one, and get some confectioner sugar and place it on there so that we can sprinkle them on top of the cookies. It looks a little bit like snow. You can put as much as you like. Taste test! This is what the inside looks like. You can even put them in some milk and dip them, and they'll taste really good. You can also put some ice cream on top of them to make a little sandwich. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe. My name is Marianne Borja, and we live in interesting times.
Thanks, Marianne. And what's the best thing to go with these crinkles? That's right, some good tasting coffee, and not just any coffee. I'm sure you've heard about one of the biggest food trends during this COVID-19 pandemic. You guessed it, Dalgona coffee. Now you might ask, where did Dalgona coffee come from? Is it Korea? Macau? Well, let's just leave that to the experts, and let's watch our EBC friend, this time from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, Nicole Padilla, whipping up some delicious Dalgona coffee. Take a look.
Hello from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm Nicole Padilla, and today I will be demonstrating my version of one of the most trending stay-at-home recipes on the internet, the Dalgona or whipped coffee. Let's begin. For this recipe, you will need the following: instant coffee, sugar or a sugar substitute, milk or a dairy-free alternative, a glass of your choice, a medium bowl, hot water, and a whisk. Now that we have our ingredients, let's make some coffee. To make one serving, add 2 teaspoons of coffee, sugar, and hot water. Then you can use a hand mixer or an electric mixer to whip the coffee until it has doubled in size. This might take a while, but I promise it's worth it.
A few moments later.
After several minutes of mixing, you should end up with a coffee mixture that is fluffy and light in color. Then grab your glass and fill it with milk or a milk alternative. You can add ice cubes to make an iced coffee or heat up your milk to make it warm. Spoon the whipped coffee on top, then mix it into the milk to combine. And there you have it, a fancy coffee drink you can make right here at home using ingredients you already have. I hope you enjoyed this recipe for the Dalgona whipped coffee. I'm Nicole Adeline Padilla from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Eagle News, we live in interesting and delicious times. Back to you in the studios.
Thank you, Nicole. Apparently, you can make Dalgona coffee with matcha powder too. When we come back, want to try a new recipe? How about some EBC stuffed bell pepper? And more dessert, a 2-ingredient chocolate cake. Eagle News Weekend Edition will be right back. Stay with us. Welcome back. We continue with Eagle News Weekend Edition here in Las Vegas. I'm Lonnie Valdecantos. We'll hear now from our Seattle correspondent, Mike Hudson, but it's not about a workout this time. Instead, he challenges you to be in touch with your creativity in cooking. Keeping in line with taking care of yourselves during our stay-at-home days, here's Mike with a healthy, delicious, and simple-to-follow recipe. Let's take a look.
Hey, what's going down, guys? Hope you guys are having a great day. Wanted to make another video for you about a new recipe that I put together. It's called the EBC stuffed bell peppers. So come join me, I'll show you how to make it. Here we go. Finished product. Now time for the taste. So this is gonna get quite messy, so what we want to do is turkey ground. You know what's good about this is that, you know, the mushroom and the bell pepper really complement each other really well. It's a really good combo. Well, that's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this little recipe video I put together for you. Feel free to make this recipe, show me how it goes, share pictures and video with me. Would love to see your creations. I know during this time it's hard because, you know, we're stuck at home. Sometimes we get bored and we're caught up with all the things that are going on, but really use this time to challenge yourself creativity wise, and you know, start new hobbies and even make a dish like this. So hope you guys have a great day. Michael Hudson, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thanks, Mike. Hopefully you all saved some room for dessert. Baking definitely has been one of the most popular activities people have turned to while being on quarantine. But before we learn about this interesting 2-ingredient chocolate cake, Just remember to always follow a balanced lifestyle with regular exercise and to keep up with your chores around the house. It's not only beneficial to our bodies, but also for our minds. Now, can you guess what the second ingredient is for this chocolate cake besides, well, the obvious chocolate? You might be surprised because it's not flour. Here's our EBC correspondent from our Los Angeles Bureau, Andre Rio Tatar, with the details.
Safer at home, but hungry for a way to pass time? I'm sure by now most of us have already reorganized our homes, watched everything possible on Netflix, and have our go-to workout routine set. So, what do we do now? Why not try learning a new skill and being creative with the newfound time we all have? I put together a quick 4-minute video on how to bake a chocolate cake using only 2 ingredients. Our first ingredient are 4 eggs, and we'll separate our egg yolk and egg white into separate bowls. Next, we are going to take our egg whites and use a hand mixer and mix them until it comes out fluffy. After a few minutes, this is the texture that we'll be looking for. Our second ingredient is 9 ounces or 1.5 cups of chocolate, and we're going to microwave our chocolate in 30-second intervals. Then, we are going to take our egg yolks and mix one at a time until it's all incorporated. Next, we'll take and stir in 1/3 of our egg white mixture at a time until it's all incorporated. However, the correct way is to fold our egg whites with a spatula. So keep that in mind when you try out this recipe. Once that's all done, pour the batter into a greased cake pan. And when you do pour in your batter, make sure you use a spoon or spatula instead of using a whisk like I have done here. Next, we're going to bake our batter for 30 minutes in a preheated oven of 325 degrees Fahrenheit or 170 degrees Celsius. And voila! Our 2-ingredient chocolate cake is now done. Here, I'm going to sprinkle my cake with some powdered sugar. And some other options is to serve it with your favorite ice cream or with some seasonal fruit. And before we leave, we got one last thing to do. And that is a taste test. And with the first bite, it's like I bit into a chocolate-flavored cloud. And something perfect to enjoy any time of the day. So give this recipe a try, and I hope you enjoy. This is Andre Rio Tatar, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
That looks so delicious. Thanks, Andre. A few reminders before we go. Wash your hands often with soap and water. Cover your mouth and nose while sneezing or coughing. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Avoid contact with sick people. If you are sick, stay home and call your healthcare provider. Practice social distancing, keeping at least 6 feet apart between yourself and others, and avoid crowds. But if you must go out, follow the mandate to wear a mask. Remember, COVID-19 is the enemy, not each other. That is this week's Eagle News Weekend Edition. Join us next week for stories from our bureaus from across the nation and around the globe. Visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/eaglenews and on facebook.com/eaglenews. Thank you for watching. I am Lonnie Valdecantos. We live in interesting times.